Hey Hoopers, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering a more in-depth version of the chest roll. I already have another tutorial about a half chest roll, but today I'm going to be downsizing a few different sizes of hoops because, as I've said in my other tutorials, working with chest rolls with these larger dance hoops is a lot more challenging just because of trying to get the hoop off the ground up to the arm. There's a lot of, the hoop can just scuff along the floor and it can mess up the smoothness of the roll. But as always, it's really great to start with these larger hoops and just make adjustment for the space because it really helps you to build the arm strength. Now, this is a 40-inch hoop. I finally measured it, right? So it's nice and big. It's about the height of my navel, and this is what I always recommend you start with. I have a 31-inch hoop right here. This is my favorite. It is a 11/16 of an inch. This one's 3/4 of an inch around. This one's that Goldilocks zone. So there's a little bit more weight to this hoop, which I like because I like the smaller size for the faster spin, but the little bit of weight helps it to stick to my body better. I happen to be 5'7". I'm pretty, I'm above average height. I'm not super tall. I have very long limbs. So sometimes these lighter hoops just tend to fly off of my body. That being said, I still love to use them. This one here is a 27-inch. And it really depending on how much space you take up vertically, horizontally, all over the place. If you have long limbs like me, maybe you're, shorter and your limbs aren't as long, you might be able to rock these lighter, smaller hoops a lot easier than I do. So it's a great way to have a variety. And chest rolls too, you can kind of get used to the feeling of the speed of the hoop. So it's good to practice with all of your hoops when you're doing drills because it helps you to be able to combine that into flow later. So that all being said, let's get to the full chest roll today. I'm going to start with my larger dance hoop, and let's just come up and talk about our hand position. I'm starting in my dominant hand. For me, that's my right. I'm going to let the hoop sort of hook here in my index finger. And I'm going to give it a couple of spins. Now, I've already warmed up today, but I do recommend warming up your wrists, shoulders, arms before we start this practice, as well as a little bit of back bending. Now, back bending, we bend the upper spine, not the low spine. This is very important. We don't want to mess up the low back. So when we come into the chest roll and we lift the chest to send the hoop across, it's important to squeeze the glutes a little bit, right? So you want your weight in the heels, glutes squeeze, so we can lift the chest, lift the chin, and create that smooth surface. So I have the hoop here in that index finger little hook, and I'm going to get ready to bring the hoop right up to this space between my thumb and forefinger. This is because I want to keep my arm fully extended and allow the hoop to travel all the way up my arm to my shoulder, across my chest, and down my other arm, which will be completely extended. Now, learning this at first is tough because it's upper body strength, but we do want to keep the wrist supple and the arm fully extended. Remember that this move smooths out with time and a lot of practice. So once I'm feeling ready, I'm going to start to send the hoop up to that soft part between my thumb and forefinger and catch it right up here on my forearm. This is a hoop or a chest roll break. I covered this in another tutorial. So I'm going to flick up and then break right here. Trying this a few times and trying to remember to keep the arm fully extended. Now I brought it up to my shoulder. So again, just practicing with this a little bit. Obviously my head is in the way. And when I'm ready to come into the full chest roll, I'm going to rearrange my body a little bit. So I'm going to come into a half chest roll break first, just to show you what my head needs to do, and then we'll work on sending it down the other arm. So now I want to keep my body as wall plane as possible. And you can look at the hoop, but remember, as the hoop comes up to your upper arm, we want to turn and lift the head back so we don't get hit in the face. Just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to bring the hoop up and across, stopping at my chest. Now I didn't swing with too much momentum there, and that's why the hoop fell forward. It is important to have a nice little flick, give that hoop some momentum to let it glide. Let's try that again, breaking at the chest. All right, one more time. My chest is lifted, my head is out of the way, and I've stopped the hoop. So getting that a few times, repeating, getting used to that muscle memory. Before we send it all the way across, let's do that little warm up on our non-dominant side. So again, just starting with the flick, bringing it up to that soft spot between the thumb and forefinger. I'm a lot wonkier on this side. You probably will be too. All right, let's send it up the arm a little bit. Sent it all the way to my chest. That's okay. We'll just start the chest breaks. All right, so now both my arms feel like they've been warmed up. We're gonna try the full extension and try to pass the hoop back and forth across the chest. So starting in my dominant hand, I come up, across, and I regrip. Notice as I regrip, I have an upward facing grip here at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna do that again from the right. Comes over, across, down that extended arm, and I regrip. Now, to send it back down the other side, we can simply fold the hoop down and come right into position and send it back. I bounced a little because I bent my elbow. The bouncier it is because you're bending the arms most likely. So let's send that right to left again. Now I caught it with that upward facing grip. In order to make this a little cleaner and not break the shape of the hoop, I'm gonna just do a little toss and regrip. It's a very quick movement. I'm here. I'm going to let go of the hoop. I'm going to try to just keep it as still as possible and regrip to send it back. Ooh, a little bouncy. All right, that is the chest roll, the full version. Let's downsize a hoop just so you can see what it looks like as the hoop goes faster, or feel what it feels like if you're downsizing your hoop at home. So again, this is my 11/16 of an inch diameter hoop. It's a little heavier than this guy down here. You can see I'm trying to slow it down. Ooh, got it stuck on my finger. The hoop moves a lot faster across my body. One more. All right, now into the 27-inch. I'm gonna start from my left. Sloppy. I barely have to flick this hoop, but it is a little more challenging for me. All right, demos are over. Practice, practice, practice. Make sure you're doing your warm-ups, some stretches in between so you don't get too fatigued. And I hope this helps. I'll catch you all next time.